Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rene Dupree. What's up, man?
Good morning or good evening, wherever you are. Where are you at, California?
Yep, California. Bonjour from Japan.
Yeah, it's about 20 to 10 in the morning here. So
Yes, sir. Tell everybody where they can find you on social media platform.
well, right now I'm concentrating mostly on my YouTube channel, Cafe de Rene. We got all kinds of shoot interviews with wrestlers, and other like my exploits here in Japan. And once I start traveling all over the world again, I'll always document all my travels and stuff. And then we have topics, videos, all kinds of different stuff regarding to wrestling. And then in the when I get back home next month, I'm going to start doing some other ventures like workout programs and nutritional programs, just all kinds of different stuff that people can check out on the channel.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of your podcast. Ever since I've seen you do your channel, I liked a lot of your guesses, man. Like you've got a lot of people you worked in the past or the legends that you brought in your show.
Yeah, we got some really, really big names coming up. I don't want to divulge it. I kind of like to keep it a secret, you know. I like the element of surprise. So just keep an eye on it because we got some really cool guests coming up.
Yeah, and then you happen to be the son of Rene Dupree, right? The promoter.
Yes. Yeah. Well, he was a pro wrestler first. He started in 1956, and at the age of 40, he kind of stopped traveling so much around the world. So then he concentrated mostly on promotion in my area, the Canadian Maritimes. That's on the East Coast. It's right beside the state of Maine. That's where we're connected to the United States. So, yeah. So I was born and raised in the wrestling business, dude.
Yeah, and then what got you to start in the business like very early?
Well, working for my father, setting up rings and selling merchandise and carrying wrestlers' bags and all that jazz. And then, you know, this business, once it's in your blood, it's in your blood. It's you're hooked, right? So I got started really. Yeah.
Yeah, once you get in the blood of the DNA, it just gets you in the business. But you got in the business at a very young age when you went to pro wrestling, huh?
Yeah, 14. I actually started wrestling. But I was a big kid, you know. I was like 6'1", over 200 pounds at 14. So, but yeah, I did it. It was a summer territory. So we ran hockey arenas. So from the spring to like the fall, the hockey arenas are, you know, they're empty, right? They take out the ice and stuff. So it's a perfect venue for wrestling. So that would be, you know, on my summer holiday from school, that's what we do to wrestle. But we wrestle 7 nights a week. It was every night, you know. So in one given week, I could get up to like 14 matches because we do double shots, right? Like I'd work twice a night, and then on Sundays we'd have 2 shows. So 4 shows in one day, like 4 matches in one day. So I got a lot of experience quick.
And you were a quick learner, and you were able to get into those other territories after that, right?
Yeah, well, once I graduated high school, I was signed with WWF a month after I graduated high school, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, can you imagine a kid coming out of high school and saying he's getting a contract in the developmental territory, man? That's just crazy.
Yeah, all the girls that kind of like brushed me off, or all of a sudden they were kind of like, hey, you actually have potential in life. Yeah, and you don't have potential in mind. Goodbye.
Yeah, like I guess you're just thinking ahead of the future. And then what really stands out is you got a developmental territory to OVW, right?
Yeah. Well, first I got sent to Cincinnati. There was a see, at one point in time, they had multiple different developmental territories. So they had HWA in Cincinnati, and then they also had OVW. And then they had Memphis Championship Wrestling. And then later on, they had Deep South out of McDonough, Georgia. But initially, I got sent to HWA and they actually shut down HWA. Well, I went there for about a month, came home to get my, because I'm Canadian, to get my U.S. work permit sorted. And while I was at home, they actually shut down HWA, and then they sent me to OVW.
Oh, so you were just originally supposed to go to that wrestling promotion, but it shut down. Then you went to OVW. What was it like to work with guys like Kenny Bolin and Jim Cornette?
God damn! It was a culture shock, but Cornette's like, whether you love him or you hate him, he has a very, very good mind for wrestling. You know, I mean, let's face it, he's the #1 YouTube wrestling channel for a reason. He's got talent, right? So he's actually the one that came up with the name French Phenom that I used for a bit, and the tag team La Resistance. He actually wrote out a promo one time for OVW television, and he threw that that little phrase in there, "Vive la Resistance," and one of the WWF writers actually watched the TV. They caught it, and then there's our name.
Yeah, you started in the business at 19 in WWE, and that's when you got in the business at 19 when you debut, right?
Well, I got signed at 18.
Oh, okay.
Then I debuted on television at 19. Yeah. Which, looking back now, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, what can you imagine at 19 years old? A lot of kids who were 19, that they probably would have wished they would have been in your shoes, winning the tag team championship. And
Yeah. No, looking back at the time, like when you're in that system, man, you're nonstop. Things go by so quick. People don't realize. Like, they just see it on television once a week, but you're on the road literally every night. And when you're not on the road wrestling, you're either traveling back home just to, wash your clothes, repack, and get ready to get back on the road, right? So,
yeah,
looking back now, it's like, wow, that was a hell of a deal, right? But
yeah.
I haven't stopped. I left there in 2007, but dude, I've been going full steam since. This is my 15th year in Japan, so yeah.
So, like, just by going from Japan after that, after you left WWE, you just went all over Japan and you just enjoyed
All
it
over the
better than
world,
WWE. All over the
all
world?
over the world, yeah. Spent a lot of time in the UK, England, and Europe. And then you do odd shots. Like, I've been to Australia, Singapore, did a shot in Mexico, a lot of Canadian stuff. I tried running my own promotion too, running tours and stuff. That I really, really do enjoy. It's a lot of stress. It's a lot of hard work. But at the end of the day, when it's very fulfilling. I really enjoy putting like a match card together and promoting a town, and then when you see it works, dude, that's another high. Like, you can get a high from having a great match and popping the people, but when you actually promote the show and you put something together that actually draws money and like draws a crowd, that's another great feeling, right?
It is, because you
Yeah.
are drawing the crowd and everybody likes how you are. But when I saw you wrestle from the get go, when you came as La Resist, what was it like to work with Sylvain Grenier?
It's like it twitches. At first, we didn't get along at all. At all. Part of it was the age difference. I was a 19-year-old kid. He was in his mid-20s. I think I was more obsessed with, putting on a great match every night. He just wanted to live the life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like he was a guy that just wanted to live the life, and you were just kind of a guy that just wanted to perfect the matches, right?
You there, bud?
Yeah, I'm right here. My bad. Yeah, I'm here, man. I was like saying like you were the one that you were saying like you wanted to perfect the match and Sly just wanted to enjoy live the life, right?
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm right there, man.
Okay. Sorry, I'm sorry, man. It just cuts out, right?
Yeah, you were giving me a heads up
Um,
about that part.
um. Okay, so we were talking about Sly. Yeah, you have to understand. I still have obsessive compulsive disorder. So I was the type of kid I wanted to work out twice a day, and he didn't, and I had to eat, specific times and a specific amount of food, and so I was probably the reason we didn't get along because I was very hard to deal with because of my condition, right?
Hmm. So,
But
so is
now,
that what?
huh?
Oh no,
Like now,
what were you saying?
like now that I'm older, like we get on great. He called me the other day. He called me at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't think he was aware that I'm still in Tokyo, right? Said, Sly, is this an emergency? No. Okay, well, I'll fucking call you up when I wake up in about 5 hours.
And I guess that guy was like at first you didn't get along with him, but now you guys seem like in good terms now, right?
Oh, very, very, yeah. Yeah, he's doing very well for himself. He lives in Maples, Florida, which is just like an hour outside of Tampa. Got a brand new home by the water there. He's got two beautiful children, and yeah, he's doing very well for himself.
Yeah, man. Like he was somebody that everybody talked about as being Pat Patterson's project or something.
Well, as in life, it's all who you know, right? That's life. Like you can have all the degrees you want and all the qualifications to get a job, but when the boss's buddy needs a job, guess what? He's got the job.
Yeah.
That's life, man. C'est la vie. You say in French. So, but I ultimately believe, the cream will rise to the top in any endeavor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Enough
get
hard
what you're
work
saying.
and determination. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a grinder. I mean, you still were able to learn from your experience, and you still done it for many years. But when you look at your backstage, like locker rooms, what was that situation like with Bully Ray? I've heard a lot of bad stories about this guy being a locker room bully from everybody.
The term bully, man, is fuck. That's something you use like when you're in preschool or middle school. Oh, he's a bully. You know, we're adults. He was a fucking asshole. No, I mean you gotta be in some ways. You kind of have to be that way in order to get your point across and be aggressive like that. You know what I mean? To succeed. However, I think he went over the line with a lot of people. There's an old saying in this business. It's like I'm here to make money, not make friends, right? So, but from a financial standpoint, he was very, very successful. The Dudley Boys made a lot of money, and from what I hear, he's doing very well too. Financially is set. So, and I think he has his own podcast, right? Like on a major platform.
Yeah, I think it's on like a radio thing, like on one of his Twitters that he shows on there. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, like I've heard this one backstage story that's been going on, like the Hardcore Holly story that's been going on. Like I've heard different sides of the story. Like what was going on between you and Hardcore Holly?
He didn't like me from the day he met me. I don't think he likes anyone from the day he met him. You have to understand, Robert Howard, that's his real name. At that point in time, he was already in his 40s. Okay? The way the game works, the way the circle, the wheel spins in the WWF is once you get old enough, okay, it's time to go away. Here comes in the younger guys, right? Bob was an incredibly good wrestler, very good. He looked great. He was a hard worker. But when you have younger guys coming up that are bigger than you, just as athletic as you, and have the potential to be take your spot or beyond, then you're a threat. You're a threat to your position. You understand?
Yeah, a younger guy
Right.
that's got better upside, and this guy's already at the point where he's like in his 40s, saying, "Hey, this guy's looking to take my job."
Exactly. Because there's a lot of paranoia, especially in that company. A lot of paranoia. Because those contracts we sign, guess what? There's a little clause in there. It might say, oh, 5 years, but at any given point in time, they have every right to just take it away from you. Understand?
Yep.
So that's and that's like a motivating factor for guys to work harder because they know they can, and you're a wrestling fan, I'm sure you read the sheets and all that stuff. You see the mass releases, 10, 15, 20. Jesus Christ, during the pandemic, then they released like fucking like 50 guys.
Yeah.
Right? So you're never, and there's always that, they always instill that paranoia in you to not feel too comfortable or become complacent because they always want people to work harder and harder and harder, right? So with a guy like me coming in, here's the thing about him, man. He has a daughter that's my age. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So now looking, I can see, okay, here's this kid who's bigger than me, just as good a body as me, can go in the ring, and is my daughter's age. You know what I mean? So he didn't like me from the get-go. I have this tendency when I know someone doesn't like me, I want to try to change their mind, their opinion about me, and try to make them realize that, hey, So I started riding with the guy. Number one, because I always appreciated his ability. Because, as far as in the ring, Bob could go. He was believable. He laid his stuff in, but I like that style. Hell, I've been in Japan for 15 years. If you don't watch Japanese wrestling, watch Pro Wrestling Noah. You'll see the real shit. All right. So I enjoy that style. But it came to the point where he was constantly like trying to like bash me in front of other people and put me down. And then of course the big thing happened with the speeding ticket, right? Where it wasn't a speeding ticket, it was a parking ticket. What had happened was we were traveling together. There was a big storm in Alabama. He had to leave to go take care of his parents, so he gave me the rent-a-car. I went to the gym. While I was in there, the parking meter ran out, all right? And they left like a ticket or whatever. And I didn't even realize the ticket was there till I'm driving down the highway and I see this thing flapping in the wind. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then I stopped and, oh, shit. And then at this point in time, we were getting fined if we were late to the building. It was like a $500 fine, right? And now, mind you, I'm a 20-year-old kid. I'm a small town French Canadian kid. The whole time that I was on the road up to that point, I never drove the car. I was always in the passenger seat. So this is one of the first times I'm actually driving myself. And we're in a total different state. I think might have been in Washington State, maybe. So I'm trying to find the arena. And this is before GPS. This is before all that jazz, right? So I get to the building. The first thing I did was I ran to one of the girls I knew that worked there. She actually was like the hairstylist or whatever. I was like, I got this ticket, man. Like, can you go and tell somebody that I'm running late because I got to go pay this? She's like, don't worry about it. You're not from here. They're not. It's probably a $15, $20 ticket. Who cares? Just throw it away. Now, I'm not like blaming her, but I made a mistake. How old are you, bud?
I'm like 32.
Okay, you remember when you were 20?
Yeah, like a lot of my dumb mistakes. I remember when I was
Yeah. Did
like,
you fuck up when you were 20? Did you make stupid mistakes? Okay.
yeah, drinking underage while under the influence at one point.
Okay, so we all make stupid mistakes. I made one stupid mistake, and I got the dent in my head to remind me of a mistake I made. So There, that's that.
Yeah, that was the one thing where he started like getting physical with you, and then I guess it was like after a match between, I guess you guys had a tag team match or something like that, and then you ran off backstage, right?
Well, he lit me up during the match, which is the most unprofessional thing you can do. Like, I'm giving you my body, I'm giving it to you. You're taking advantage of it. You know, you bash me in the back of the head with a steel chair when I'm not looking, and you kick me 10 times in the head with a wrestling boot. Do you know? Have you ever felt the sole of a wrestling boot?
I'm pretty sure it hurts a lot when it has all that
It's like a
kicking,
steel
like
toe. It's
steel
like a
toe.
steel
That
toe.
hurts.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
hurts.
right there. See that scar? It's
Yeah,
right in the temple, bud. Yeah. So anyway, I've discussed it many, many times. I don't want to repeat myself. Bottom line is, yeah, I got a lot of head trauma, and that also accelerated my opiate addiction. You know,
yeah. A lot of that head right there, and then you were talking about like there was a time where you were coming off the airplane, and I guess that thing popped up like crazy. Like
no, I popped in the airplane.
yeah, it popped
So
in the
what?
airplane, which was scary.
Dude.
It was like a bloodbath, right?
Hey,
It was like a
dude.
bloodbath.
So let me go into detail. Like after this, a hematoma had developed. That's why there's a scar here. It was a hematoma, right?
Mhm.
But the hematoma was attached to an artery. So an artery was feeding the hematoma blood, which was making it bigger and bigger and bigger. So at the time, we had a team doctor with the WWF who actually removed the hematoma in a locker room in Philadelphia. It was the goddamnedest thing, dude. All the boys are huddled around, and he's there chopping on the side of my temple here, yanking on this hematoma. Now, the thing is, when you're dealing with an open artery, you're supposed to cauterize it. Cauterize it means you're supposed to burn the tip of it and then let it heal, okay? He didn't do that. He lanced it. It's like almost like gluing it, thinking that this was going to, and then he stitched it up. Well, with the mentality of the wrestling business back then, okay, well, just go in there, stay away from your head. So here I am wrestling every night with a stitched up lanced artery in my temple. Well, what had happened, this thing would keep busting open, right? And then it would heal over, but then it would get bigger and bigger. It would fill up with blood, is what it would do. One night, I'm in a tag match in Columbus, Ohio with The Undertaker, and this thing is so swollen that as I go into the ring, it hit the top rope and just exploded because the artery is still open. So I was basically wrestling every night with an open artery. Think about that for a second. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
that would
That's
be
not like
like so
that's not like a razor blade gig mark here where you're bleeding every night. No, it's an artery, dude. An artery.
artery. Yeah,
So anyway, finally, I got the TV, and this thing is so swollen. They said, okay, we're going to set up an appointment for you to get this fixed. But instead of going in the state, we were in New York. So no, we're going to fly you home to Louisville and set up an appointment there. But just the fact that I was flying around 30,000 feet in the air with the fucking, it's called blood clot. That could easily,
kill you.
kill you. Yeah. But I shut up and did as I was told. Are you back?
Yeah, I'm right there, man.
Oh, sorry again, dude. So from Buffalo to Cincinnati, as I was living in Louisville, Kentucky, so there's hardly any direct flights to Louisville. So I flew from Buffalo to Cincinnati. As we're touching down in Cincinnati, like just before we started our descent, I went to the lavatory. But then when we started the descent, you know how the air pressure in the cabin changes, right?
Yep.
So I'm sitting down, and all of a sudden that thing just pops, dude, and it's an artery. So I mean, I had Paul London on my channel, Cafe de Rene, on YouTube for
I've seen
everyone else,
that one.
and he basically confirms the story. It looked like a bloodbath because there was blood
Yeah,
everywhere. Yeah. It was crazy.
and you got into the ambulance eventually. Then they took you there, right?
Oh no
No, not
ambulance.
yet, not yet.
No. The ambulance showed up. The paramedics came on the plane. And they looked at it, they said, listen, if you get on this connecting flight, even though it was only like a 20-25 minute flight from Cincinnati to Louisville, you could die. That could create a blood clot, an aneurysm, boom, you could die. And I had the son-in-law in front of me, and I had one of their top trainers behind them, and the top trainer said, don't do it. So the paramedics' eyes were like, are you freaking crazy? And they made me sign a release basically stating that they warned me, because if I die, they're kind of like at fault, because you know what I mean. So I had to sign like a release form or whatever, stating that yes, I understand that I'm risking my life here. I'm not, yeah. But then I got to Louisville, back to my place, and it actually popped again there. I had sneezed. Yeah, I sneezed, and the pressure popped it again. So then when I started bleeding all over the bed, we rushed to the hospital. And as we're waiting, it actually popped again, just because it was so filled. So as I'm sitting in the or standing in the lobby of the hospital, right? You got like the waiting room or whatever, and they're like trying to fill out paperwork. I mean, my girlfriend at the time was filling out paperwork. I'm just standing there. It pops, and then the blood just goes rush. It was a pool of blood by my feet, and then they, call the emergency. They rushed me right into like an emergency room or whatever, and they fixed me up. But yeah, I was scary, dude.
Yeah, that had to be a scary experience because that would have killed you, like straight up, like with
Oh,
the artery and all that stuff. That can
yeah.
kill you. But you were strong, so you've
Yeah.
survived through that. And after you look back on wrestling in WWE, you got a chance to do a solo run with, like in SmackDown, right? And then you just went by your French character still, right?
Yeah, I was pretty much dubbed with that whole French thing. You have to understand, like WWF is a worldwide business, right? So they want to market towards every market they can. You got the North American market, you got the European market with, different languages they speak. Yeah, like the German speaking, the French speaking, the Hispanic or Spanish speaking markets, right? I mean, they have offices like in Jesus Christ. I don't know how many different countries. I know they shut down a bunch. They used to have a Canadian office, but they shut that down years ago. But I know they got one in like Tokyo. They got one in Singapore, London, I believe. Yeah. So,
A lot of business were closing down with territories, right?
was that?
No, like a lot of business were starting to close down because of the territories going on, right?
No, I'm talking about the WWF. How they have different offices in different countries all over the world.
Oh yeah, they had different all around too, but yes, like you were saying, they had them all in different world. I mean, global also, right?
Yeah, yeah. But if you're talking about territories, yeah, that was back in the day when guys could. It was more like the circus type world where guys could just pack up and move to a different state or a different part of the country in the United States. Back in the day, dude, you could literally have a 30-year career or 25-year career and not hit the same territory twice. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But a lot of guys, like, different territories weren't as financially, they didn't make as much money as others, right? So a lot of the top stars would want to stay like in New York, Minneapolis, different parts of the Carolinas, different parts of the country where you can make more money, right?
That's right, man. Like, then as soon as you got like let go in WWE, you eventually went all around different independent circuit, right?
Yeah, well, Japan was always a base. That was always like my golden goose or whatever. But then, I want to explore the world. You can explore the world to a degree with the WWE, but you're always on on a set routine, and you're always got eyes watching you all the time. When you're independent, you can do it as well, but you got more freedom and you can do a lot of more mischievous things. Because don't forget, I left there at 23. I kind of wanted to be a little wild. You know what I mean? So let's just say I had a lot of fun. A lot of fun. But now I'm older. More mature, and don't do that as much. Try to be more
Yeah,
professional.
you learn when you're at a younger age, and you probably started maturing as you got onto a different territory. Like when you went to
Yeah.
like, but then I don't know if this was true facts. Like you were offered another contract by the WWE in 2011, right?
Yes. 5 year, 7-figure deal. But I ain't gotten deported from it. So let me tell you this story. So once I asked for my release from the WWF in 2007, right? Within a day or two, I was already booked at a promotion in Japan called Hustle. Remember Tajiri?
Yep, the buzzsaw.
Yeah, man. So Tajiri was kind of like in the booking committee back then, and me and him always got along. And as soon as he found out I was available, I was booked, right? So I was living in Houston, Texas. I flew Tokyo, had a great showing. They offered me a year deal. I was like, fucking sweet. Boom. Got the deal, came back to Houston. But by the time I got back to Houston, my work permit with the WWE had expired. So technically, I'm an illegal immigrant. So they denied me access into the United States and deported my fucking ass.
Ooh,
Yeah. So I want to hide, right? I'm like, all right, I just signed a new contract. This is perfect, man. I can take it. Because the plan was originally just to take a year or two off, get out of that, that system, recharge. Because I developed problems. I had issues, which a lot of guys did. But so I said, okay, this is perfect, man. I can pay my bills, boom, 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 work a different style, learn a new hold, as they say, and then come back and be fresh, right? Be new, make a bigger impact. I'll be a few years older, a few years more mature. I'll be working with some of the top Japanese talents, which I did. But anyway, that wasn't in the cards. My ass got deported back to Canada, and that was rough. That was rough. But there's an old saying, man, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right?
yep.
Right? Life is all about experiences, and especially when you're in the entertainment business, such as myself, whether it's pro wrestling or a musician, rock band, or comedians, that travel around. Yeah, only the strong survive. But
Yeah, like you gone through those experiences and then it got you stronger and then you went I guess you just enjoyed going to Japan more than just going to other promotions in America. Like you don't even want to go to America as much, huh?
not really. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've got a lot of friends there, and some of the promotions look to be cool, but Japan, for those who don't know, like for the wrestlers who've been there, it's either they love it or they hate it. It's either or. Personally, I fell in love with it. I get along great with the Japanese talent. Like a lot of these guys are my friends. It's a very physical style, which I enjoy. I mean, they're not, if you hit a guy too hard, he's not going to whine, bitch, and run to the office and complain and get you fired, Randy Orton. But, um, but, yeah, I just enjoy it. I've never been lied to when it comes to the financials. Everything's always been on point, and they take care of you, man. Like here in Tokyo, I got my own apartment. I got like a weekly guarantee for like grocery shopping and all that stuff. and then yeah, they give you free clothes. Like for example, I got like 2 or 3 of these. I got a brand new pair, 2 or 3 pairs of shorts, a brand new warm up suit. You know, it's great, and the exposure that I get here, like since I've been here, This is going on my third month, right? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here, man.
Okay. Well, yeah, the exposure that I get here, like I'm completely booked to the end of October.
Man, you got an entire month of working there. But what is it just like to work down Pro Wrestling Noah? Because you've been booked there, and then you've been having your matches, right?
Yeah. Shit, did you freeze again? Are you there? Okay, yeah. So
No.
now they're redoing. They're concentrating mostly on content for their streaming services. You understand? So
Hmm.
you're working maybe 5 to 8 matches a month, which is good because this is a very very strong stiff style. It gives a chance for your body to relax. But yeah, so it's great. But the thing is, I'm getting such great exposure here around the world because they have their WrestleUniverse.com. That's like their little network that they have. You can sign up, you get 2 free weeks, and it's like less than $10 a month if you want to watch Pro Wrestling Noah live. All their stuff is live.
Yeah,
But
you showed me like a content of the universe part, and then it has you like wrestling tag team with Dr. Wagner Jr., right?
yeah, he's actually he's right next door here. I can knock on the wall, tell him to wake up. Uh, yeah, no, he's a great talent, man. He's a big dude, especially for a luchador, and he can move. But the thing is, yeah, the exposure I get here, I'm already booked up. Like I got dates in Canada, dates all over Europe, and then I think possibly, I don't know, I can't read the future. I might be coming back here, but I don't know. All I know is that I enjoy being independent. I enjoy being my own boss. And anybody listening to this, I think, could agree that being your own boss is the bomb. Nobody
Yeah,
tells
it
you what you
is.
do. Your own schedule, man. And if you can make a living, pay your bills, and save some money, why not?
That's true, man. Be your own boss. Don't have nobody tell you what to do. And then what's even better is starting to do podcasts, man. Like it got you influence to do some of these podcasts, right?
Well, hell yeah. Now I can build up my own networks. I can build up my own ideas. Like I'm sure you hear all the time, right? A lot of guys complaining that I pitched ideas to the writers and they ended up giving it to somebody else, right?
Yep.
So
They
I
stole
was one of
ideas
those.
from them.
Are you there, bud?
Yeah, I'm right here, man.
Yeah. So you hear all the time that wrestlers would pitch ideas to the writers, but they ended up giving it to somebody else. One of the top guys that they invest all their time in or TV time in. I was one of those guys. For example, the Wyatt family. Remember them?
Hmm.
That was my idea. I had pitched that in 2006, 2005. A movie called The Devil's Rejects came out. Remember that movie? Rob
Yeah.
Zombie. Yeah,
Rob Zombie. Yeah.
yeah. I watched that movie. I got hooked. I bought the DVD. I could memorize every single line. And finally, I went to one of the writers. Brian Gerwitz was his name. He works for The Rock now. And it's basically that gimmick. And then it happened a few years later. But in my opinion, that's been the most popular gimmick that they've had in the last 15, 20 years was the Wyatt family. Um, but now I have all kinds of ideas. But now through my own Cafe de Rene, I can show the world my ideas and my creativity. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. Build my own network.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy watching a lot of your interviews. I see a lot of those big name guys you got because you worked with in the past, and
Yeah,
do you could have been at least a top star but you were like coming in too young. Some people were saying you were peaking too soon, or just didn't have the favorites
bro,
right.
bro, I'm a top star over here. I've been working over here for 15 years in main events, semi-main events. I've held major titles over here. This is a total different universe. Guess what? More people know who Rene Dupree is here than, let's say, I don't know, name a name. Name a
Oh,
name that,
you're more noticeable than Roman Reigns because in Japan you're a big deal.
dude, in their magazines, it's like the last 3 years, they have like a year's end with every different company. And they put me next to Roman Reigns like 3 or 4 years in a row. But they put me in my pictures bigger than his. Yeah, nothing against the guy. I never met him, but I knew his older brother, Matty. And I love that guy. I love Matt to death. He was a big brother, man. So all the Samoans I got along with, great, great people.
Yeah, very much, man. But yeah, man, like I like how you're doing your like podcast and all that stuff. But which was your favorite match? Like if you go back in time, you say, hey, that was one of my best matches by far.
Anytime I wrestled Paul London. But are you familiar with Sonata? Seiya Sonata? He's in New Japan.
Not really. Probably need to look more into the pro wrestling
Yeah.
Nova.
No, this is New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's with
Oh, New Japan.
Los Inaugurables de Japon. He was in TNA for a bit. He was the TNA Impact Cruiserweight Champion, I think. Yeah, Sonata. I'll look him up, dude. He's one of the best out there. Trust me. But as far as American, definitely Paul London. As far as looking forward to getting in the ring and wrestling. As far as a payoff, big marquee match, had to be with John Cena, right?
Yeah, without a doubt, anything with that match where you had with John Cena, that was a solid match. I think he had a match for the U.S. title match with him where he was defending the title against you.
Yeah. Los Angeles, 20,000 people sold out.
Yeah. When you look back on that, man, you just kind of like your own independence, man. You can do what you want. Hey, go to Japan and have all your freedom, and then they pay for everything, man.
Listen,
What's there not to complain about?
For all the wrestling fans, I know that they're like diehard WWE fans and all that stuff, but look at it from a wrestler's point of view. If you're in whatever business you're in, whatever trade you have, if you can be your own boss, create your own schedule. I don't really give a shit about being noticed, being famous. I don't care. Okay, I enjoy going out there. I enjoy popping the crowd and getting that high from the people. Yes, I do. But as far as being noticed and, oh, hey, sign up, I don't give a shit. Yes, you need the exposure to be noticed. Yes, you need the exposure that, okay, well, if a promoter wants to book you, yeah, okay, well, this guy's going to draw me tickets. I understand that. But it's not like I got the big ego where I'm walking in the airport and I need you to notice me. Like, dude, when I'm off the clock, okay, I'm no longer Rene Dupree. I'm Rene Gauguin. I'm the real me. You understand? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But looks like time is ticking for you, sir. I know you got a lot of busy schedule, man. I definitely appreciate your time, and I definitely like your podcast, man. It's a great honor for somebody like you to go on a different direction and be more successful elsewhere, man. Just because you're outside of American wrestling doesn't mean there's no other opportunities, man. You got Japan, you got Mexico, you got a lot of different promotions. You could be your own boss, like you said.
That's right. I've been doing great for myself, strictly Japan, Europe, and Canada for the past 15 years. So hopefully my body holds up, my health holds up, and I can do it for another 5 or 6, 7 years. 45. I like to go till I'm 45, and then we'll go from there, right? But I thank you, man. Thank you. You've been a great host.
Yeah, no problem, man. Definitely appreciate you. Maybe down the road, I'll definitely want to get you back on, man. I like your podcast. Friend. Big fan of you, man. All right, man.
Peace. Thank you.
All right. Peace, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.